Which deceased person, if brought back to life, would be the most surprised to learn they became famous posthumously? C. The Iceman. It's the earliest surviving naturally mummified human remains, at about 5,000 years old. It would take a while to explain the concept of fame to him first. I remember reading about this in a standardized reading test in 4th grade. It was so interesting that I read it a bunch of times and almost ran out of time to finish the section Lamau edit, since lots of people are asking. I am also 19. How old are you? I think I remember reading that too. Edit, thanks for the gold. Yeah, same, in 19. Vincent van Gogh. The dude was severely depressed his whole life and only sold one painting while alive. He eventually killed himself only for his art to be worth millions now. I lived in Amsterdam for a few years and always wondered what Van Gogh would make of the mobs of tourists at the museum dedicated solely to his work. Especially because more visit that museum than the Rijksmuseum next door with countless Rembrandts and Vermeers and other Dutch masterworks. There is an episode of Doctor Who where they meet Van Gogh. I won't spoil anything about the episode, but it's stunningly beautiful. Edit to include my favorites. This, Vincent and the Doctor, is one of the greatest episodes in television history, in my opinion, edit, critically speaking. But I have other factors at play. Stuff I was going through personally. The people I was with at the time. Things that might not necessarily be objectively better, and which I have referred to as my personal favorites, separate from best of lists. Blink is also amazing. Terrifying the first time. But Silence in the Library, and the partner episode Forest of the Dead, takes it for me. I cry every damn time. Shout out to the empty child and the doctor dances. Oh, and I was reminded below of the girl in the fireplace. Such a beautiful episode. The sets were so good. If you want to be deeply unsettled, give Midnight a watch. Pitch perfect performances. I've also been reminded of Asylum of the Daleks and the Doctor's Wife. For lighter things, the Adipose episode is right up there. Also the first episode of S2, and the 11th Hour. Hands down, tied with Blink for favorite episode. I agree, and would add The Girl in the Fireplace as my top 3. Herman Melville, author of Moby Dick, he was considered an unsuccessful writer while he was alive. He only managed to sell about 3,000 copies of Moby Dick in his time. Now it's one of the most well-known classics. Emily Dickinson. Edgar Allan Poe. Sylvia Plath. Franz Kafka. There'd be a lot of shocked writers on this list. Kafka is the most brutal for me. Tormented from birth by his domineering father and working a depressing job he felt was pointless, wondering what the reason for his existence was. He found an outlet through writing and made one good friend that encouraged him to keep going. He died at 42 from tuberculosis, with his one wish being that all of his works were burnt. So glad he didn't listen and publish them anyways. But he died thinking he had an inconsequential existence, and you really feel it with the themes of pointless bureaucracy in the trial and pure plight and insignifiance and helplessness in the metamorphosis. How Kafkaesque? Yes. My man's been waiting 3 months for this moment. And Frank. They published my diary? And it's been read by millions of people? So Anne actually was in the process during her arrest of preparing her diary for publication, as they heard in a broadcast some diaries might be published after the war. I know someone who read the true original for research, and apparently it's much longer and filled with more mundane stuff most people wouldn't be interested in reading. Her parents also removed some of the sexual thoughts. Parent. Her mother Edith starved to death in Birkenau. Well, that's depressing. Welcome to World War II. Alan Turing. This is a great answer. His achievements were supposed to be top secret. As were other things. I graduated with a computer science degree in 2009. I didn't learn about Alan Turing until my senior year, and the fact that he was gay only came about due to one of my peers asking why he killed himself. I'm glad his history is more prevalent now. Edit, so many CS majors shocked and confused and even a little snide about me learning this so late in my program. My comment is regarding the historical context of Turing. Our CS courses felt very much like mathematical courses, thus historical context was rarely given when discussing theory. I think Shakespeare would be floored if he knew his works were still being taught and read. Seriously, you guys read my plays that are meant to be watched. What, egg? He stabs him. Exit, pursued by a bear. Rasputin would be proud and confused. Especially if he heard the song and fanfictions written about him. Fanfictions? You know what, I won't even ask. Yeah, there's a couple of fanfictions I found which were like Rasputin x Reader, Rasputin x Anastasia, Don't Ask, and Rasputin x Tsarina Alexandra. Then there's ones where Rasputin rises from the dead. They're hard to find though. Alrighty then, time to go down a cursed rabbit hole of Rasputin fanfics. See you all in hell or therapy. Share your findings. Do it. Here goes. www.fanfiction.net's 112237391 Journey to His Heart, Rasputin x Anastasia. On a scale of 1 to milk thick, it's not very inappropriate, just very weird. www.fanfiction.net's 111687801 Rasputin, a Hetalia fanfic. I refuse to associate with anything Hetalia related, so I didn't read it, but I'm linking it here in case anybody wants to do further research. www.wattpad.com 7882996665 Magical Girl Pretty Rasputin Jesus Kun. I desperately hope this is ironic. That's all I can say about this one. www.wattpad.com 1335546 The Curse's Blessing. This one isn't really a Rasputin fanfic, so I guess it's a bit of a bonus. This is all I could find for now, and I already lost plenty of brain cells with this. Might update this later, we'll see. Doing the Lord's work edit. Wow, that Rasputin Jesus Kun one was painful to read. Thank you, good sir. I never thought I would get to this point, but here I am. Joseph Merrick, otherwise known as the Elephant Man. I think he would be surprised about how many plays, books, and even had a movie made about him. Edit. Wow, thank you guys for silver, and yes, I know that Joseph Merrick was famous in time, but I think that he'd be surprised that he's even more famous, but also that today's time he would be more accepted. That Roman in Pompeii who died while masturbating. That's the way I want to go out. You want to come as you go? Does the Pope shit in the woods? I mean, does he? Top 10 questions science still can't answer. Franz Kafka. He had no faith in his work, and his will stated the executor of it to destroy them all. Other guy went against these wishes and published. Vincent van Gogh, definitely. He just wanted to sell and make his art his whole life. He died without having that. I'm pretty sure he died dirt poor. His grandson made him famous. It was his dream to be famous for his art, and he'll never know because he died before it happened. It was his brother's wife and son who made him famous, actually. But yeah, it's incredibly tragic that so many artists who are practically worshipped now died without knowing people appreciated their work. That dude's dead wife. Why does everyone want to have sex with me? What the hell happened? This is why. Just in case anyone doesn't know what this reference is. Henrietta Lacks. Story? I mean, you take any composer, writer or painter from centuries ago and they will be surprised. During their life they could have been next to royalty, but to imagine that you are celebrated even after hundreds of years, it's not something easy to wrap your head around, I imagine. So it would be cool to say anyone very respected, like Beethoven, Cervantes or Goya. To know that everyone considers you the best of the best, even after the rotting time, might blow your mind. I feel like of all people, Beethoven would be the least surprised. However, anyone before him would be severely surprised because it was a tradition to lose all fame once you died, since nobody would play your music. Beethoven's death started the movement of people playing and conducting dead people's music, and he was worshipped like the next Jesus sometimes. Well, I would imagine for the reason of surpassing centuries, you know. But maybe Vivaldi would be better. Didn't he die poor and sad? There are a lot actually that would be a good example. Yeah, especially people like J.S. Bach, who literally was forgotten for 100-ish of years and is now worshipped as perhaps the best composer to have ever lived. His children were known to be more famous than him. Edward Teach aka Blackbeard. Dude was a pirate for a few years. He had some reputation, but he wasn't exactly out there for decades doing pirate stuff, and well, he was just another outlaw. Don't think he'd see pirates being romanticized like this coming, or him being the face of old-timey pirates in general. Blackbeard's here in Hess taking a shit.